whole life I've been running after one thing, to find that part within that'll measure up to something. I've got a lot of dreams, but I was told I wasn't practical. I couldn't measure up because of all my flaws, but I know they're wrong. Those are only stepping stones. Life's the art of embracing these things, yeah.
Boris Kodjoe, welcome to the podcast. Man, I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to this and just seeing you across this Riverside Zoom thing. Like, has there ever been a day in your life where you haven't looked just amazing? Like, I can say that as we're friends. You just you got this vibe into this aura to you. You ever had like a bad looking day? Like, my wife hasn't, and I don't think you have either.
There's plenty of them, man. My eyes are red. Look at my eyes. My eyes are red. I've been working nonstop. So this is actually, today was my last shooting day. And I have 3 weeks off before we go back in January. So I'm looking forward to laying it down for a little bit and just relaxing with the family.
Man, well, that speaks volumes to who you are coming on this podcast after you've, people don't understand. When you shoot, it's all day. It's long days. I know you've been up 3 a.m. going there. People outside perspective, oh, yeah, he gets to do this. It ain't easy, man. And no one is more driven than I've been around this past year and a half than you yourself. So big kudos to you.
Wow, thank
B,
you. Thank you.
Let's get this thing rocking. So as we start off here, we always ask every guest, start us off with a bang. Something different about you, Boris. Something that not necessarily everybody knows. They know you're this great actor, now a director. I mean, you're always in the top 50 best looking people, all of these things. Something a little bit different about Boris Kodjoe.
Something a little bit different. Well, for one, ich könnte sagen, dass ich mit einer anderen Sprache aufgewachsen bin und dass ich erst seit 19 Englisch spreche. Das wird mir als erstes einfallen. So I guess that would be the first thing. The fact that English is not my native tongue, and that I grew up in a whole different place, in a different continent, in a different country, a different culture, different language, and I didn't start speaking English until I came here and go to college, which was when I was 19. So that, obviously that presented itself with a whole bunch of challenges and hurdles to overcome. But maybe that's one thing that some people don't know when they see me on the screen, that I actually speak a whole different language, and English is my third or my second.
Take a quick break in the podcast because you know what I love almost more than anything is a great cup of coffee. Oh, I just wake up excited for my coffee. You know what I'm talking about if you're a coffee person. If you're not a coffee person, you need to kind of just check your priorities. But what else do I love? I love workouts. I love training. And what if you could put workouts and coffee together? You always thought about coffee is just this natural pre-workout, and then you got pre-workouts. What if you had the best of both worlds? Well, now you do. Workout coffee is finally here. I wish I would have created this. Such a great concept and idea, and where nature meets science. And all the workout coffee products are powered by Theafit, which is a high-potency theaflavin enriched black tea extract that is patented and clinically proven to improve exercise performance and reduce recovery time. So the question is, what are theaflavins? Great question. Naturally formed from the oxidation of tea leaves, they've been shown to have strong antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects, as well as supporting liver health, blood lipids, and the immune system. So think about that. You're getting all this and coffee, the taste of coffee, the energy of coffee, my mind is blown. I am going to wake up in the middle of the night, have a cup in the afternoon, in the evening. Keep it coming. Workout Coffee. Check it out. workout-coffee.com. Look at the links in the show notes below. We are going to have a discount code for you in there too. Check them out and get your coffee today and your workout on. Now, back to the episode. Man, that's incredible. And I don't think a whole lot of people do know about you or know your backstory before you're an actor. They'll see you as an actor now, but you're real, you thought your life mission was to be a tennis player, and you were phenomenal at it. So walk us through that as you're this professional tennis player. You hit this, just this adversity strikes. How do you get through that situation? Because I'm sure you were thinking, it's over. What am I gonna do? How do I pivot out of this? Just talk us through that moment that like you realized you were made for something more than tennis.
Wow, at the time, you don't know. I lived my whole life. My first, well, let's say, first 18 years was dedicated to tennis. Junior tennis. I was one of the best, and my goal was to go on a tour, be number one tennis player in the world, and that was without a doubt where I was headed. Yeah, and then I had a back injury when I was 17. It was stenosis, which is a genetic. It's a genetic, I guess, predisposition that you have, and it caused chronic sciatica. So I was in constant pain after I played, and that sort of, you know, put a damper on the whole plan. And I had to, like you said, I had to pivot, but it took me a while to pivot. When that first happens, it's a traumatizing experience. It's a real blow to your ego, and it sort of destroys everything that you thought you had going for yourself. I didn't want to pivot. I didn't want to change anything. Change is difficult. That's why people are so hesitant when it comes to changing. It took me about a year and a half, I would say. I was depressed. I was really low on myself, and I was pitying myself. I was blaming everybody and everything, and I sort of broke out of that with the help of my mother, who suggested that I came here to the States and to take one of the scholarships that was offered to me and get my mind off of, the sort of single focus of tennis. So I came here and I started studying and meeting different people, and I still play tennis for the school, but my aspirations had changed at that point, and I sort of learned after a while that there's more out there, things that I didn't know about, interests that I had that lay sort of dormant in me. So the college experience sort of expanded my horizons and opened me up to other opportunities and possibilities in my life. And so I opened up to that, which really was, I think, the key to being able to see some of these opportunities that were coming my way. Because if you're completely constricted and closed off, you're not going to attract any of these, opportunities. So I felt myself opening up slowly and being receptive to some of these things. I went to New York, and I met this photographer called Bruce Weber, and I got signed with this big modeling agency, and I started traveling the world and modeling, and that was a great experience for me because I got to see the world. I got to meet a lot of interesting people, and I also started going to acting class because it was a way for me to get a command of the English language, right? Because I had spoken with such a thick German accent, and I wanted to sort of be a better English speaker. So I went to acting class because they teach you, breathing exercises and enunciation, and that's how I sort of started getting my feet wet in the in the acting world. And one thing again led to another, and I think the key aspect of my journey has always been that I've been unafraid to step out on faith, really, and to be open to new opportunities and possibilities. And I was never afraid to sort of venture out into the unknown. I wasn't afraid of uncertainty. I wasn't afraid of failing or falling down. That's one of the things that my coaches always told me. Like, you have to seek out mistakes, because that's really the only way for you to be able to take in lessons and to learn and to grow, whether it's as an athlete or as a person in general. And so I had that courage to go out and just see what's out there. I was prepared for that, and I think that has always been my strength. That I was able to then embrace some of these things that came at me. And you take wrong turns all the time. You make wrong decisions. You make mistakes, but you got to be embracing of those experiences because they are invaluable to you on your journey and growth.
But isn't that incredible that you leaned into your weakness, which led to your incredible breakthrough? Your weakness being the English language. You go into acting classes, and lo and behold, you become one of the best actors there is because of this weakness. Yet far too often we hold ourselves back in this. And I think one of the greatest skills that you touched on is to be able to shed uncertainty. Uncertainty is the scariest thing for people, not knowing what is going to come. And you said it. I remember it vividly. We were actually at Takaya, and you told me this. You said, hey, life is just a hallway. Like we're walking down this hallway. We'll go into different doors. We'll learn from them, but we'll continue to walk down this hallway. But the worst that you can do is go nowhere. Stay exactly where you are. Do you have certain, like, I think you're incredibly gifted in the mindset space, and we've talked about this a lot, but like, do you have certain mindset tools that have shaped you, or habits that you do, or what to you, Boris, separates not just the good, but separates the good to becoming the great?
You know, that's very interesting because we live in this climate of self betterment. There's this sort of mindfulness space where people are always talking about maximizing their potential. I think that everyone has to define their own greatness themselves, right? Because I think it's hard to say somebody's great and somebody's good and somebody's better or somebody's greater, especially nowadays when there's so much distraction coming from all sides through social media, and we tend to socially compare ourselves to everybody else, which I don't think is a good thing. I think it's actually detrimental to our own growth because we get distracted by other people's journeys, other people's hallways, if you will, right? And I think that's counterproductive to our own journey because now we think we have to make these kind of choices or those kind of decisions. We have to walk that way, and I always thought that the strength that one possesses is to define who they are themselves, be true to that, and then learn how you can live in 100% fulfillment every single day. And that fulfillment does not necessarily have to do with success, right? Because yeah, you might strive for greatness and you might have aspirations to be better than you were today, but I don't think there should be a measuring stick. I think the ultimate success is when you can fully embrace who you are and find complete fulfillment in your being. Um, so I want people to get away from the measuring sticks because they oftentimes cause anxiety and stress, fight or flight, fears. And I always tell people, look, focus on yourself and figure out what your purpose is and figure out where you find fulfillment, whether that's going out to the lake and fishing or going into soup kitchen and helping out or writing a book like you've done twice now. You have to find your space, your purpose, where you can experience 100% fulfillment, and it does not necessarily have to be associated with greatness.
Oh, it's interesting that
And
you.
maybe that's, and you know what, maybe that's, and maybe that's greatness in itself
It
when you
is.
can do that.
It
You
is,
know what I
man.
mean?
I think it really is. And it's interesting because I had this written down in my notes. Self-awareness, confidence. I think you were one of the most confident people that I've ever been around because you're self-aware. You don't care what other people think. You're not measuring yourself to other people. That's the greatest thief of our joy, is just just comparing. I think you hit on two words: fulfillment and contentment. It doesn't mean you're not driven. It doesn't mean you're not waking up every day and you're going at it, but you're an appreciation for who you are, and you give off that aura of you that I think is very infectious. And to hear that coming from you as one of the top actors in Hollywood, like, take note of that, people. It does not have to do with Instagram likes or anything like that.
Not at all. Not at all.
Boris, as someone who is constantly reinventing themselves and a visionary, seeing things that are happening before they happen, what's next for you? What's big on your plate that you're really excited about coming next? I know you have your directorial debut January 15th, Safe Room going down. What else is coming on for you? It seems like you're doing a zillion things all the time. I can never keep up.
You know that feeling you get when you just wake up and you are not rested or recharged? Yeah, we all have it. We all go through it. How do I wake up with full energy every single day? It is literally the game changer itself, Chili Sleep. I have an ooler that goes underneath my mattress and cools my body temperature to the ideal temperature to get deep sleep, REM, high HRV scores. Now, I have mine pretty cold, about 57 degrees. The optimal level is between 57 and 65 degrees. I have a weighted blanket, which just cools my body, and I'm just sleeping in restorative sleep. So when I wake up in the morning, no matter how many hours I get, I am juiced up and ready to go. And lucky for you, you can wake up the same way. The people at Chili Sleep are giving you a discount, giving you a code. So go to chilitechnology.com/pages/David Nurse to get your special discount pricing there. Remember, that is chilitechnology.com/pages/David Nurse, or just click the link below and it'll take you right there. It's sleep like a polar bear tonight. You can get the best night's sleep of your life. Chili Sleep.
Well, yeah, that's certainly an experience that was such a blessing for me this summer when I directed this movie, Safe Room, that my wife starred in. Thankfully, she was incredible. It's something that I'm more and more interested in, directing movies and creating a narrative that's different from what we've seen so far. So that's certainly something. I find I get a lot of pleasure and fulfillment in watching my children grow up and taking part in their experiences. They are both now teenagers in the middle of their teenagedom, and that always comes with some surprises and challenges, obviously, but I love watching them grow into who they eventually will become. That is definitely one of the most fulfilling projects that I have going on. And it also takes a lot of commitment and work and dedication, for sure, and attention and presence. I am, again, I'm open. We're shooting the 5th season of Station 19. That's going really well. That's been such a blessing to be part of Shondaland, and that's been such a huge success. And I'm really curious about what the future holds. I got my eyes wide open. The past 2 years have shown us all how fragile life is and how uncertain the world is, and we're not out of the woods yet. That also has brought with it a lot of self-reflection for me. I've learned a lot about myself, some of the childhood traumas that I had to deal with or that I didn't deal with, that have caused certain patterns in my life, and mistakes I made, and I needed to really self-examine there, which we don't do enough. I certainly didn't do enough of that. I was very quick to give advice, but failed to really look at myself and figure out some of the things that have stunted my growth. And so that's also part of my focus. Self-love is something that I've rediscovered for myself, which is so important. Whether it's mindfulness, meditation, breath work. Obviously, I like to, stay fit, but the mind-body connection is something that I've invested in a lot in the past 2 years. Because if one lags, then you can't fully be who you're supposed to be. So I've invested a lot of time in that, reading up on different ways to to constantly increase your physical vibration and your energy levels, and to raise my awareness. Awareness is everything. To be able to go from constriction to expansion, making that change consistently, and creating your own routine daily that that encourages you to step up and do your thing every single day. That's helped me a lot. So I feel like I'm an infant, because I have so much to learn every single day, and I'm excited. I'm excited about tomorrow. I always tell people, look, tomorrow is another opportunity to make more mistakes and to learn more about yourself and to grow and to find purpose and fulfillment.
B, it sounds like you should be a motivational speaker, an MBA optimization coach, and an author. That's something I'm going to challenge you on, man. You've got a phenomenal book
All of
in
these
you.
three things.
But I'm really glad that you hit on your fatherhood and being a husband and all that I see on Instagram, and you putting your wife on a pedestal. Like, that is so needed, man. I hate when husbands will talk bad behind their wives, but you guys just show what true love is, what true marriage is. And raising kids, like I've told you, man, I am taking notes. I've been around you and your amazing son, Nico, a lot, and I am taking notes. Like, you could write a book on that alone. That kid is incredible. Man, that was so good right there. So good. I would talk to you for days, and we'll get together and hit some more Takaya sometime. But I'll throw you on the rapid fire hot seat as we wrap up here. So quick answers, whatever comes to your mind. First one I have for you, do you have a favorite mindset quote or a mantra that stands out to you? Something maybe when you were young, or you put on your bathroom mirror, or you read in one of my books. Of course, you can always use those.
There's so many. A quick one that I just heard over again earlier today was, change is a choice, not a reaction. I think that's a very powerful quote to me, because it just it it puts the reins in your own hand, when it comes to self improvement and stepping up your game, and replacing some old negative habits and patterns, and introducing some new patterns. That is all a choice. So for those of us who feel helpless and stuck, I think it's always invigorating and encouraging when you know that it's really up to you, right? And I always remind people, you don't have to move mountains. You can just move a pedal or a tiny rock, right? Baby steps is everything. As long as you do that consistently, you create a sustainable process as you go through this. You will change your life piece by piece. So, yeah, change is a choice, not a reaction, I think is something that would come to mind.
Man, I ask you for one, you give me like 6 inspirational points there. It's so good, though. We all have a superhero power within us, and it is choice. You wake up every morning with that superhero power of choice. I'm so glad you said that. B, what does leaving a legacy look like to you? Not necessarily what it says on a billboard or fame, anything like that. What is a true legacy to Boris Kodjoe?
To me, legacy is my children, no doubt. I pour into them every single day with everything I got, and that's my true legacy. Nothing else matters compared to them. And for those of us who don't have children, I think it's relationships. The mark you leave, it's about how you make people feel. And so I think that's our true legacy. I don't believe in trophies and any of this other acclaim that's purely materialistic. I believe that relationships is all we really have, and so that's what I pour everything into.
So true. And everybody, he lives this, literally. There's not a whole lot of people in my life that will text me just checking in on me, encouraging me. Boris, you were one of those people. So that's, man, you live it. You live it to the T. Hey, so being at the top of your craft and a constant learner, curious in growth and development, who are some people that you attribute looking up to? Maybe people when you were younger that you wanted to be like. Maybe people that are mentoring you now, people you inspire. Anybody stand out in your life? You're like, man, that's someone I really learned and grew from.
You know, I hate to say it, but I've been disappointed over and over when I've idolized people because, got to remember people are people. But at the same time, it's also a very honest and sobering assessment of who we do idolize, which is people like our friends, our family members, and that's fine as long as we understand that everybody's human and everybody makes mistakes. Everybody should make mistakes, and I think it's okay to be inspired. I think it's okay to be moved. But idolizing, I think, is a very dangerous concept because if you idolize, you will be let down. I think inspiration is great, and being emotionally moved by things and people, I think that's great. When you hear a beautiful piece of music and you start tearing up, it's because you're moved. And I think people can do the same, and I always look forward to that. But I don't take a person as a whole and say this person 100% is somebody I aspire to be like. No, I don't. First of all, I don't know that person. I don't know every single aspect of that person, right? And I think it's very important that we embrace each and every aspect of who we are, whether it's darkness and grief, it's joy and excitement, adventure, love, compassion. Everything we have in us is worth loving and holding on to.
Man, you just took that question and made it even better. Inspired, but don't idolize. Powerful. Before we get to the final question, I'd be amiss if I did not ask you this. Nico wants me to ask you this question. It was a calling question. Who is your favorite child? Directly from Nico. He's looking for the answer there. No, I'm totally kidding.
That's
Do not
hilarious.
answer that.
Look at, we got people going up here.
What's up? Hey, how you doing? As his daughter strolls in to say that she is the most loved kid.
I'm gonna have to plead the fifth.
Good answer. Good answer.
Yeah,
I love them both equally and individually differently.
Great.
I would say.
Great answer. And the last question I have for you that we ask everybody on the podcast, if you had one piece of advice, maybe it's a word, a phrase, just drop the mic advice that you would give to someone who feels stuck, who feels like they can't go on, who feels like it's a lost cause, what would that little spark be to ignite their fire?
Your future doesn't have to be defined by your past. That's what I would say. Because oftentimes we are so overcome by all the emotions of our past that we end up making the past our future, and we have to realize that the present has nothing to do with the past, and neither does the future. It's up to you. Again, change is a choice, but your future does not have to be defined by your past. Every day is a new beginning.
Man, choice. You choose to let your past define you or refine you to become who you are in the future. Drop the mic. Boris Kodjoe, thank you so much. Man, honor and blessing to have you on here. Everybody check out Boris January 15th, directorial debut, Safe Room, all the shows he's doing, the movies he's in, following on social media, him and his wife. Boris, you're the man. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Thanks, Dave. I'll talk to you soon.